Hey there, welcome back to Module 1, Email Basics. Here in Lesson 2, we're talking about the email journey. And the important thing to understand here, and the big lesson I'm going to walk you through here, is to start thinking about email not as individual emails, but as part of a larger journey that you are taking your subscribers on. So that's what we're going to dive into, and that's what we're going to dig into here in this lesson. Because just like a friendship, you need to make your email marketing a journey for your subscribers. If you think about it with your friends, you don't meet them and immediately ask them to help you move. Well, the same thing is true with email. You don't get someone onto your email list and immediately do the equivocal of ask them to help you move. It's something that you build a relationship over time. And from lesson 1, you know that what you're trying to do is build a connection and have them start to think of you as a friend. Well, you understand. That's something that you have to do through a journey, not through individual emails, and not something that happens overnight. So here in lesson 2, you'll learn the 5-part journey to take your audience on, how to navigate the different email sequences and emails you're going to send, and the role each phase in the journey serves in the overall goal. So that's what we have in store. And the thing to recognize is that the magic of email marketing is in the journey, not the destination. And another way to think about this is that you sell with email not in the email that they actually click to buy on, but in the journey that happened that took them to that point in the relationship. So you need to view your email and your email marketing as a consistent journey that you're taking people through various phases and various steps to get them to the point that they're a raving fan who is ready to buy. See, too many entrepreneurs think of email marketing as just another sales vehicle, so they ask for money way too soon. This is the metaphorical, they ask someone to help them move right away. You don't do that. You don't ask someone to invest $1,000 right away. Now, again, some people will do that, and it's okay if you do that, but what you need to understand is that that's not going to be the most effective time. And what I'll tell you is the stories from a lot of my peers in the industry who are in my mastermind and other things who I've talked to, and they use a launch model. So they bring all their leads or the vast majority of their leads in when they're launching their product through Facebook ads. And what they will admit to you candidly is that yes, they'll sell some during that initial launch, but the real magic happens when those people go through the launch the second time or the third time. And the reason why is because of the journey that happens between the launches. You are taking people and building those connections over time in a way that will, make someone more likely to buy. So that's what I want you to be thinking about in this lesson. And email marketing is generally a 5-step journey. This is going to happen in 5 steps. And this 5-step journey, if you've taken my email marketing map assessment, or if you've gone through various of my trainings, you've already seen this. But here it is in a nutshell. The first step of the journey is the catch email. The second step is the nurture sequence. The third step is the welcome sequence. The fourth step is the weekly emails. And the 5th step is the promo sequences. And so that's the journey in a quick overview. But what I want you to understand when you look at this, you'll see and we'll talk about this in a second, but sales happen at most during 2 steps of the process, the nurture sequence and the promo sequence. But the catch email, you're not selling anything. Your welcome sequence, you're not selling anything. And your weekly emails, you're not selling anything. Those are sequences, those are emails that are all about building connection, making your audience feel like you are a friend, and getting them to the point that they know, like, and trust you. Those are the emails that are going to make you successful in the long term. Now, another thing I need to talk about is I get this question all the time. You put a subscriber through it in a step-by-step manner, and they're in one step of the journey at a time. So they are not going to be receiving, for example, the nurture sequence and the welcome sequence at the same time. They will only receive one of those at once. And when they're in your welcome sequence, they're not getting your weekly emails. And when they're getting your weekly emails, they're not in a promo sequence. And when they're in a promo sequence, they're not getting your weekly emails. So understand that this is something that you put people through this journey, and they're only in one phase at a time. So let's talk a little bit about the 5 steps. So step 1 is the catch email. This is the email you send to subscribers right after they subscribe. If it's a freebie, it's the delivery email for that freebie if possible. This is your first impression, so make it count. But not only is it your first impression, it is also candidly the email that you will send that will have the highest open rate, the highest attention span of any email you will ever send. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't take advantage of it and send a "here's your stuff" email. And we'll talk about it later in the trainings about why you don't want to do that and what you want to do instead. But the concept is you're going to send an engaging email that will actually hook them with that very first email. Then step 2 is your nurture sequence. This is where you build value related either to the freebie or to the next step that you want your subscriber to take. If your journey that you take subscribers on generally is they download a freebie and then they're just gonna go on your list. You don't have anything to sell them right then and there, and you're not going to ask them to sign up for a webinar or some other kind of launch vehicle at that point. What you're going to do in your nurture sequence is you're going to build the value of the freebie, help them unpack what they can get from that freebie, and by doing so, you up the know, like, and trust factor. Now, on the other hand, if you have a low-priced offer, what's called a tripwire, or a self-liquidating offer, or you want them to sign up for a webinar, for example, related to the freebie they just downloaded, then your nurture sequence is about nurturing them to take that action. So you're unpacking the value of the product or the next step to get them to convert. So that's your nurture sequence. After someone goes through a nurture sequence, they go into your welcome sequence. If the nurture sequence was about either the freebie or the product, the welcome sequence is a broader attempt to help people get to know you, your world, your values, and how you can serve them. A lot of people forget that when people first get on our list, chances are they don't really know us. They don't really know that much about us. There's actually a good chance they don't even know what services you have that you could help them with. Well, your welcome sequence is about helping them to understand that, helping them to understand what you stand for, but also to prepare them for what's to come. And so that's the goal of your welcome sequence. It's really kind of starting to nurture the relationship and build the connection through a curated journey that you're going to take your new subscribers on. After they're through your welcome sequence, they go into step 4, which are the weekly emails. This is where the magic happens. You build a connection with your audience each week by sending these emails, and that's what creates raving fans. Now, these are the emails that some people call your weekly newsletter. I don't like the word newsletter, and we'll talk about that in a lot later training about why I don't. But understand, when I use the phrase weekly emails, I'm talking about what other people might call your weekly newsletter. These emails are the ones that people overlook the most. These are the ones that people don't put enough time into, etc. And what I would tell you is really perfecting these emails will do more to build your overall success as an email marketer than anything else. Because again, this is where you're building the relationship that makes people feel like you're a friend before you come and say, "Hey, do you want to pay me $1,000 or whatever the price of your signature products are?" So this is a critical phase of the journey. Then step 5 are your promo sequences. And this is where you sell your signature offer. It could be a course, it could be a membership, could be an offer of your service, whatever it is. These are the emails that you send that are directly trying to get people to buy your signature offer. And they come after people hopefully have been on your weekly emails for a while, but sometimes the way timing works out, you might be going through a promo right as people are doing it, and that's okay. These emails are all about helping people to buy. It could be launches like a webinar or just emails that you're going to use to try to convert people. And we'll talk about both in future trainings. Once someone goes through the promo sequence, by the way, you might say, well, what happens at the end of the journey? Well, then they go back to step 4 and are back on your weekly emails until the next time that you're going to send promo sequences. So the journey looks like they go from step 1, the catch email, step 2, the nurture sequence, step 3, the welcome sequence. Then step 4, they are in the weekly emails, step 5, promo sequences, and then back to step 4. And then they alternate between steps 4 and 5 based upon your promotion schedule. So we're going to cover each step in its own module. The point of this was not to give you all the nuts and bolts. We'll get to the details later. The point of this lesson was to give you an overview and get you to start thinking about email as an overall journey, because that's an important part of your overall success as a marketer. So that was the purpose here. We're going to get to details later. Your key lesson takeaway here in lesson 2 is that your emails to subscribers take them on a journey from cold leads to raving fans. And just remember that. That's the journey you're taking them on constantly, and you need to be thinking about that in a very coherent way. In the next lesson, you're going to learn the importance of developing your personal voice for email. In other words, how do you write emails that are not like everyone else's? And we'll talk about the common tools for creating your voice and why you should start creating your voice now. This next lesson is crucially important. You need to start working on this. You need to develop your own style, develop your own personal voice for email if you want to be successful over the long term. So I will see you in the next lesson.